Hi everyone. So I'm doing a video response to a blog article called 13 Ways You Know You're Dating a Grown-Ass Man. So yes, I read the article and I'm just going to give my feedback, my opinion and my thoughts onto the 13 ways this author has said that you're dating a grown-ass man. So let's begin. Number 1, you know where you stand. You are his girlfriend or you are a girl he's dating, but either way, he's not scared to define it. He's not afraid that a girl will cry and run away if she doesn't hear what she wants to. He wants a mature woman because he is a mature man. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean he knows what he wants. But I mean, like, what if someone wants maybe someone doesn't want a relationship, like a serious relationship. Maybe they just want to have like a no strings attached kind of thing. Nothing like maybe they don't want something so serious as a relationship. And they feel like they know where they stand on that issue. Are they still a grown ass man just because they want something different than a mono close knitted serious relationship? So I wonder what she thinks about what she or he, this author, Chrissy, thinks about that. Because I think, for one, that it doesn't matter whether you want a serious relationship or if you want like a no strings attached kind of thing, or if you don't mind both. Either one's fine with you. In all three of those examples, you feel like you know where you stand, and so I feel like even if you want a no strings attached, friends with benefits kind of thing, that still should make you considered a grown ass man or woman because you know what you want. Number 2, you don't have to proud him to become a real adult. He's self motivated to improve on his own. If there's an area of his life that needs improvement, he's working on it long before you notice it. So I'm assuming proud, or no, proud, or you don't have to be proud. Um, yeah, you don't have to be proud. I mean, I'm sorry, you don't have to proud him. I'm assuming that means like tell him. You know, um, I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's good. No one's perfect in this world. You have faults, and you try to work on them. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, what if someone doesn't know that? Maybe, maybe like a girl or a woman doesn't like something that a guy is doing. And what if he doesn't notice it? In terms of improvement or self improvement or life improvement or something like that. Or self motivated. Like, what if he doesn't notice it? Maybe he's just like, maybe it's a, I don't know, maybe it's just a bad habit that he doesn't notice because he's so into it. You know how habits work. We become so into them that sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing them. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being self motivated, but there's also nothing wrong with just telling someone how you feel about something. If you feel like if you don't like what someone's doing and you feel like it's not that big of a deal, and it's a little annoyance, and you feel like it's not gonna do anything to hurt the relationship, I don't see what's wrong with just telling that person either. I don't see what's wrong with that either. Number 3, texting with him is peaceful. Sometimes you have conversations, sometimes you make plans, but it's never a power struggle of who initiates and who texts last. It's not fishing for compliments or security, it's simply a short form of communication. That makes sense to me, you know. Um, that's the way texting should be. I mean, it should be same with phone calls. I mean, in theory, they're just a form of communication to make plans or to discuss things, and then the majority of it should be in person. That's in principle how it should be. But I will admit I'm guilty of having long form text message communications for multiple reasons. Maybe one, I'm away, or two, maybe I don't see this person that often, or maybe three, sometimes it doesn't occur to me to make plans, or like, I don't know, like maybe there are short forms of text, but sometimes it feels like it's long. But I definitely agree with that. Try to keep text messages short. Just like to try to keep your phone calls short as well. George Carlin did a skit about that. I think you should check it out if you can. I'll put a link in the description section so you can see it. But yeah, keep things short. Like this message, I think I'm making this too long. So moving on now. Number 4, he calls his mom. You don't need to tell him to do this, and he does it to keep in touch, not because he needs her stamp of approval on all his choices. Okay, I have some issues with this one. First off, what if what if this person has a bad relationship with their mother? Not everyone's relationship with their family is great. Okay, that's just a fact. Not everyone has a great relationship with their family or with their mom in particular. Maybe he doesn't like to call his mom because they're in a bad situation. Maybe he doesn't like talking to her and she doesn't like talking to him. I mean, just because he doesn't call his mom doesn't make him a bad or immature person or a grown ass man, as this article puts it. Maybe there's just it's not as black and white to me as this way is showing. I think there's more to it than that. Number five, he has interests, like actual interests. No beard darts or meeting women. He reads the newspaper or books, and when you ask him his opinion on something, he has an answer. Okay, I feel like that beard darts actually is an actual interest. Yes, that is an actual interest. Meeting women, maybe. But also, I mean, like, the newspaper, I don't know if this writer is familiar with this, but newspapers are almost to the point of dying out at this point. And books, I mean, it's like this is a blog. It's an article, so this gives me the impression that this author is really big into reading. I mean, I'm not saying reading is wrong. It's good, but other guys just there's guys out there like including myself who aren't the biggest readers. I personally like audiobooks more than books. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with reading, but maybe make a few more examples of other things like watching movies or playing video games or I don't know, playing a sport or working out or something like that. Maybe a few more interests to show some variety. That's all I would say for that example. Number six, when you spend the night at his place, it doesn't feel like camping. His sheets are reasonably clean. There's gas there's gas toilet paper and double gas fresh towels in the bathroom. There's something in the fridge other than beer. I mean, yeah, like why not? I mean I don't have a problem with that. That sounds perfectly fine to me. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I agree with that. Number seven, he doesn't disappear for days or a week at a time. He knows that if he needs space for some time to clear his head when he's stressed out, all he needs to do is say that. He's strong enough to be upfront rather than running away. Okay, so I mean like I feel like I have a few issues with this. One, like maybe not all guys are upfront about their feelings. Like like some guys are. They say like if I need some time to myself, I need some time to myself. Some of them are just it's hard for them to express it because they for whatever reason that may be. Also, some women or girls are different. Like if I said that to a certain person, she might get offended or she might take it the wrong way. Did you ever consider that when writing this blog that some women might some guys, they might be a little bit afraid to say that because they feel like their girlfriend is going to take it the wrong way if they tell them that. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, it just depends really on the situation. I feel like this isn't a black and white kind of um, a way to know if you're dating a grown ass man or not. But I mean, like, sometimes I've been direct or I've been upfront, as this article describes, and sometimes it hasn't gone the right way. So, I mean, it depends on the situation, it depends on the person. That's the way I feel about it. Number eight, he never says, just trust me, as an attempt to end a disagreement. If he knows that if you're expressing a concern, the solution isn't to just tell you not to have it. He isn't manipulative. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? The solution isn't just to tell you not to have it. So I mean, it kind of sounds like the beginning part says, "Just trust me" as an attempt to end a disagreement. That sounds like that sounds like you're talking about anything. And then in the next sentence, he knows that if you're expressing the solution, he isn't just to tell you not to have it. It sounds like you go from the first sentence talking about just any general concern or thing or topic to the second sentence is talking mainly about your girlfriend or your wife wanting to have some kind of object in particular, like I don't know, just something she wants, and the solution isn't to tell her to not have it. Um, Okay. Um, well, I mean, I feel okay. Like I agree in a way. Like you should. I mean, you guys, you shouldn't just say just trust me because I mean, who? I mean, unless you have something to fall back on, like why do you have a reason? Why should she have a reason to trust you? You know, I mean, just why? I mean, just saying just trust me is. I mean, some people are just gonna feel like I mean they may somewhat trust you, but they're gonna have doubts at the same time. Whereas if you have some kind of credibility to saying that, then sure. As the second part, the solution isn't just to tell you not to have it. He knows that if you're expressing concern, the solution isn't to just tell you not to have it. Um, I'm not really sure because it's just worded kind of weirdly in my opinion. Um, I mean, if that sentence is talking about your girlfriend or your wife wanting an object in particular, you know, I mean, like I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with giving. I mean, giving is fine and all that, but it's also nice to have a reason to give. I guess like maybe Christmas time, or maybe it's your anniversary, or maybe it's Valentine's Day, or maybe it's your birthday, or just something like that. Maybe there's certain days that we made holidays up to give things to give things to people and stuff like that. I mean, if you want to just do that out of the goodness of your heart, just in general, sure. But also, I feel like if you do that, some women might take advantage of you then. So you got to watch out for that. Um, I mean, if girls or women really want something, then from their husband or the boyfriend, then they should they should make a good reason for it. It's not just I just want. It shouldn't be because I want to have it. It's like, well, what did you do to exactly earn that, or why should I give it to you? What do I get in return? Or maybe I'll do this a few times, but I don't want you to keep asking me for stuff because I feel like I'm being used. Yeah. So that was kind of a not very straightforward answer, but the eighth way kind of didn't seem very straightforward either. Number nine, he doesn't get jealous. Sure, it doesn't make him happy when another guy hits on you while he's checking your coats, but he doesn't blow up about it. He's secure in his admiration. Well, I mean, some guys are different. I mean, some guys are more likely to get jealous than other guys. I mean, some guys it's just naturally the way they develop their behavior. I mean, some guys are just they're anxious and are nervous because they feel like they're gonna lose you to some other guy. And I think that's something you need to personally discuss with your boyfriend or your husband. To say, look, I'm not going to cheat on you, or I'm not going to go out with this other guy. I know that you're my boyfriend, and if a guy tries to hit on me, and if I get the impression that he's hitting on me, I'm gonna tell him straight up, hey, look, I already have a boyfriend. I'm not into polygamy. I'm not in a open relationship kind of thing. Um, I feel like that's something that needs to be discussed. So yeah. Number 10, he doesn't treat you like a child. If he disagrees with you, he can tell you that. He assumes you want to engage with him rather than assuming you are a piece of glass that will shatter at the slightest disturbance. Well, again, I just feel like that depends on the relationship. It depends on the two people, or maybe more than two people. Depending what the relationship is. But yeah, I mean, that depends on the people. If someone can't, I mean, I think it's more of like a first first name basis or first name example. I mean, like if you have a argument and then it seems to be a pattern that you try to like disagree with your girlfriend on something and she always gets into arguments with you over something, then eventually he's going to assume that you don't want to engage with him. That if you act the same way that you are, you will be a piece of glass that will shatter at the slightest disturbance. I mean, again, like some people are like that, some people are not like that. Again, I think it's just. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I mean, there isn't anything wrong with that. With that 10th way, you should be like that. You should be open and honest with your partner. He assumes you want to engage with him rather than assuming you're a piece of glass. Yes, you should. You should try to be open and honest with your partner. I'm just saying that some people, when they are trying to be open and honest and are trying to be truthful, they sometimes feel like they get slapped in the face because their partner acts in a very negative way towards that. They respond in a negative way, and then after that happens, they're hesitant to try again because they don't want to deal with that. But you shouldn't. But you shouldn't let that try to stop you the first time. You should find out. You should do this as a part as equals. Number 11, or the 11th way, he encourages you to grow and try new activities. He isn't afraid he will be left in the dust, and he generally wants the best for you. Sure, why not? I mean, if you want to do something, if you have a new hobby or you are interested in something like some kind of activity, if I had a girlfriend and she was like that, I wouldn't mind that at all. But I also think, since you are in a relationship, you should also be doing things that you both like. That's what I think makes a relationship work. Is one of the things that makes a relationship work is finding things that you guys are interested in. So if your girlfriend or wife is finding things that don't interest you in particular, you should be like, hey, look, maybe we could try some things and let's try to find some things that we both like. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad that you're trying something new, like, I don't know, tennis or reading books or whatever, but, I'm not exactly into that kind of stuff. Maybe we should try some other stuff, or maybe you already know, maybe you should already know what you guys have interest in or you have common interest in so that you don't have to worry about that. The 12th way, you never have this conversation. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? That happens a lot. I mean, I kind of don't understand that one because it's like, people sometimes they don't make up their minds. Sometimes, that's just the way it is. It's like you don't care, You're not feeling, maybe you're feeling hungry, but you don't care where you go. It doesn't matter, That happens to people, I mean, I don't feel like that's a sign of a grown-ass man. I mean, my other problem with that is why should a man be deciding where to go, What if he doesn't care? What if maybe he wants his girlfriend or his wife to decide because, maybe he wants her to pick the place to go, and she's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe he's not in the mood for something in particular. Maybe he just wants to go out and eat something, but he can't decide, I'm not even in a relationship, and sometimes I have a hard time choosing the find a place where to go eat lunch or dinner or whatever. There's like, I could be in one area like near my school, and like there's at least like 8 different restaurants, and sometimes that can be hard, to decide which one to go to. So I feel like that isn't a way to know you're dating a grown ass man. I disagree with that one because we always have we always have we're always not certain of things, We're always not certain of things. And that applies to people, it's natural. Sometimes we just don't know what we want, That isn't a sign of being a grown ass person. It's not. So I disagree with that one. Number 13, you don't have to play a guessing game when he's upset about something. He tells you directly words and you have a conversation and figure out a solution. I mean, I was talking about that earlier, being direct, but sometimes that doesn't work out, and sometimes it does. When people ask me, like, oh, hey, how you doing? I don't just, like, go, like, good, I'm okay. Sometimes I go, like, oh, I'm completely shitty, or I'm tired, or whatever. Most of the time, I try to, like, say how I'm actually feeling. I feel like you should be direct, or I feel like in this situation you should be like, up in front about how you're feeling. Like if you're upset, then you should try and be like, hey, well, maybe I had a bad day at work, or maybe I had a shitty school day. I got a freaking F on my test or some bullshit like that, and then I feel like whenever someone's tried to like help me feel better, I end up feeling better about myself. Sometimes guys have this tendency, or at least culturally or society wise, men are expected to sometimes keep their feelings to themselves, and that's not exactly good either, because then when you keep all this stuff in, it's like a volcano, it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and then it explodes, so it's not exactly good to keep it all in either. Maybe it's good to just talk to someone about it. It doesn't have to be your girlfriend or your wife. It could be your best friends or your friends or an acquaintance, or it could be, I don't know, like a therapist or something, depending on your situation. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with number 13. I find it kind of ironic though, because like I've noticed sometimes that girls aren't direct, and sometimes a lot of times they're very subtle, and they're not direct and to the point. So like it's like I always like find these memes, and it's like like if you see a girl upset, and are you going like, are you okay? Or if she when she looks upset, and it's like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And it's like you could just tell by her facial expression or by the temper of her voice or something like that. That's like, no, she's not actually fine, you know. And it's like I kind of wish that like, yes, I don't agree, I agree with 13 here, the 13th way that you should be up in front about how you feel, or like maybe you should be direct about it. But I also feel like that girl. I wish like more girls seem to be like that as well. And if you are a girl and you do that, you are, you know, you actually express what is wrong, and you just don't try to brush it off, or you don't try to go, I'm okay or I'm fine, but you actually aren't, you know, then good for you. I appreciate you doing that. But there are girls out there who do that, who say I'm fine or I'm okay, and they're actually not okay. You know, that's why we have that stereotype to begin with. So anyway, this is my reaction. This is my response to this 13 ways you know you're dating a grown ass man. Again, it's a very opinionated, subjective piece. You know, um, some of the stuff I agree with, and some of the stuff I have doubts about, and some of the stuff like, you know, I feel like some of the stuff like the author tries to be black and white with the subject, but I feel like the truth is this is not a very black and white thing. It's a very gray area. It's a very gray, huge gray area. So yeah, it really depends on just people's opinions. You know, it just depends on your own personal view. I mean, if you find this, if you somehow end up agreeing with all 13 ways, I feel like that's just a coincidence more than anything else. I mean, I agree with some of it. Sometimes some I didn't. Sometimes I felt mixed about it. Sometimes I just flat out disagreed with it. So yeah, this is my response to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.